Hey guys, good morning. This is Kirsten from the Academic Advising Office at OTC. Today I am joined with a very special guest from Missouri Southern State University. And today we're just going to kind of talk about the transfer process and what that looks like, and just kind of address some different things that students ask us all the time when looking at transferring to different schools. So I will let her introduce herself to everybody.
Hi everyone, my name's Ashlyn Bradley. I'm one of the regional admissions counselors at Missouri Southern State University in Joplin. I get a lot of questions from OTC students, so I'm happy to be here to answer your guys' questions and give you more information about our school.
Yes, thank you so much for being here and taking the time to do this. This is always really helpful and really important for students just to have that resource to go to help get some of their questions answered, because it can be really overwhelming and there's always so much information. So
For sure. And it'll be good where everyone can stop and re-listen to things. And sometimes I feel like when I go to fairs or when I'm talking to students, we're giving them so much information. It's like, what did she say again? I can't remember.
yes, so this will be a great thing. So thank you again. So we'll kind of just get started. So at OTC, as you already know, we have a lot of students who plan to come here and then transfer to another university to finish out their bachelor's degree. And so I know we talked to them a lot about, hey, start early, start reaching out, all that kind of stuff. But when do you think students at OTC should start thinking about the transfer process and what schools they're going to go to and kind of just those next steps? And what kind of information, should they be looking for kind of in those first initial steps when transferring?
Okay, so if you're interested in transferring at all, I think you should start requesting information from schools right away. That way you can get a better understanding of what other schools offer, how your courses are going to transfer, and then you have plenty of time to weigh your opportunities and your choices. So I would say even your freshman year at OTC, you should start looking at your options at other four-year colleges to continue your education. Um, Definitely get as much information as you can and learn about each school, whether that's looking at their website, contacting an advisor in the admissions office, or just asking friends or anyone that has attended before kind of what any information they can get about the university and the things that we have to offer. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm here any of the time that your students need me. You can send them my way. So
Thank you. So something else that I hear a lot, especially from my students, they always are kind of wondering like, hey, should I even finish this whole associate's degree, or should I just take a few classes that, or should I just focus on my gen eds, or should I go ahead and complete that full associate's degree? So kind of what's your opinion on that? In other colleges we've talked to in the past, they're always like, yes, finish that associate's degree. It's going to be really helpful in the transfer process, and as opposed to, hey, let me just focus on my gen eds and then move on. What's kind of your opinion of that?
right. So in general, for students that are transferring to Missouri Southern from an accredited 2-year program like OTC, in Missouri specifically, this is going to be a little wordy, but hopefully it'll help with the explanation of things. But it would be better to finish your associate's degree, because students who complete all of the general education core curriculum, it's called the Core 42, if they earn an associate's prior to coming to MSSU, you'll have met all of our lower division general education requirements.
Okay.
So students who plan to transfer should finish that, because they're able to meet all of those requirements before they even get here. So they don't have to worry about how they transfer individually. It's just a solid change over to a different school. So students who have not completed the Missouri General Education Core will have their courses evaluated on a course-by-course basis. And yeah, so it doesn't necessarily mean that all of their courses will transfer to Southern. I mean, they'll come across as at least an elective, And I'm going to talk about some of our transfer articulation processes later on, but generally speaking, it would definitely be better to just get your associate's degree and then transfer. Because then all you have to do is a minimum of 30 hours for your bachelor degree with us, and 1/2 of the upper division major requirements have to be completed at Missouri Southern.
Okay.
So
that's nice. I mean, it kind of takes the kind of, I don't know, inconvenience out of it, you know, by the course by course thing if you just kind of transfer it all. So that's really nice.
That's a really nice thing about what Missouri did for our 4-year colleges and our 2-year colleges, because it makes it so much easier and it's less stressful for students to be like, well, I want to go to this school, but only 3 of my classes transfer, versus going to a school they don't really want to go to and all of them transfer. So fortunately for us, higher education took that into consideration. So it makes the transition much easier for both of us.
Definitely. And that's, I think, another reason why it helps to kind of start those conversations early, you know, so students have that helpful information instead of just kind of assuming.
Yes, for sure. Because it does get tricky. And talking to transfer students almost every day, they're like, well, I've taken classes at 4 different schools. How do they transfer? And I'm like, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
But definitely get your associate's degree. That's my advice.
So. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. Yeah. So at OTC, I know sometimes it's a misconception in some ways, but sometimes students think of us and they think of a 2-year degree because they think of the associates as in finishing in 2 years. And absolutely that is a possibility. But I think a lot of times what students don't take into consideration is how many credit hours they would need to take each semester to be able to get that degree done in 2 years. And so, you know, I know full-time, a student attending full-time is at least 12 credit hours, but that's not really going to get you within that 2-year time frame. So even after they transfer to Missouri Southern, what do you guys kind of recommend as far as the amount of credit hours they should be looking at taking to kind of keep them within a reasonable time frame for finishing out that bachelor's degree?
Yes. So when we get our first-time freshmen, the first thing I say to them is, you have to at least take 12 credit hours. Your first semester or two, it's like, okay, if you want to ease into the college process and take maybe 12 credit hours, that's an option. But I always suggest students take at least 15 a semester, because based on our graduation period of 4 years or 8 semesters, we have to have a minimum of 15 credit hours a semester.
Okay.
So otherwise, you can take summer classes to reduce your fall and spring course load, but 15 credit hours is a pretty solid number in case you're taking like a super difficult class and you're like, okay, I can't do this. I need to not take this class. So if they had to drop a class for some reason, especially freshmen, then they're not going to drop below their 15 credit or their 12 credit hour, sorry.
That's okay.
12 credit hour full-time enrollment for financial aid. So with transfer students, I suggest the same thing, 15 credit hours, because it just makes a good standard set of hours. So you can take more than that, you can take less than that, but every semester is going to look a little bit different because you're going to take 2 credit hour classes, 4 credit hour classes, not just 3 credit hour classes every semester. So
yeah,
it really depends on your plan of study, but a good rule of thumb is 15.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah. So, okay, let's say
full time is like 9 hours.
Okay.
So I know a lot of students are like, oh, I'll just take all these, I'll take a whole semester during the summer. That's not very realistic. That's not a solid plan.
Yeah.
At worst case, you can take 9, but we just suggest that you do as much as you can during the fall and spring, because you have more time to do those courses rather than in summer when it's a shorter time frame.
So. Right. Yeah. That's good to keep in mind for sure.
Yeah.
So let's say a student like hears all this and they've done their research, they've talked to you, they're like, yes, I feel great about this. How early should they start applying to the institution that they are interested in, such as Missouri Southern?
So I suggest students apply as soon as the application process opens.
Okay.
Um, so for example, this fall, whenever the fall 2020 semester started,
Mhm.
our application for fall 2021 opened. So
Oh,
we
wow.
open it like a year in advance. I know
Nice.
that seems super early, but the sooner you get your application in, the sooner I can help you walk through getting your transcripts turned in, getting your ACT scores turned in if we need those, to take some of those other classes if you don't have an associate's degree. We can also articulate all of your credits in the registrar's office to know, say you didn't get an associate's degree and we needed to articulate all of those courses and see kind of how they transfer. It takes up to 15 days to get that done when it's the busiest time of year.
Yeah.
So you need to have time to have that process completed, but also if you're applying last minute, you're not going to get all the classes that you want. You're not going to get the hands-on help if you need it. There's a lot less time when you're like in a crunch to get enrolled and ready to go. So if you apply in advance, you're able to have everything done before classes even open to register. And then you can meet with your department and see what they want to do for a graduation plan with you and what to expect. So it just gives you a much smoother process for me and for you. And I'm able to help you more when it's early on and we have plenty of time to answer questions and go through any possible issues that you might have, whether that's my transcripts didn't come in. I don't know where they got mailed to. I have no idea where I sent them to. Or because it does happen. I mean, sometimes the electronic system fails us and sometimes the mailing system fails us. So always good to leave room.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
room is good.
Yes, definitely. I'm a planner and a worrier, so that year in advance would be so perfect because I don't know, I would like to take my time to make sure everything was getting done the way it needed to, so I would take advantage of that for sure.
And that's not to say you can't apply. I mean, we take applications for students up until the first day of classes.
Okay.
But I mean, we're really trying to stay away from that because it really limits the options for students. Like if you apply the week before classes start, most of those classes that you're going to need at a higher level are going to already be full. So, I mean, you don't have to know, even if you apply to a school, doesn't mean you have to go there.
Sure. Yeah.
So I would say if you're even considering going to any school, you should get the information ahead of time and then apply when you feel like, okay, I think this is what I want to do. Let's just go ahead and get that application in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really smart. Yes. So transitioning just a little bit, kind of more to, I don't know, something that I'm probably asked more than anything, really. And because it's a big thing for students, which is going to be, you know, financial aid and scholarships, that kind of stuff. That's always a big factor for students, not only at OTC, but even looking to transfer because it can be expensive, you know, so anything.
College is expensive. I mean, generally speaking, it's a lot and it's not something you can always pay out of pocket if you're not working full time.
No.
So with that in consideration, we do have transfer scholarships.
Okay, great.
So there's quite a few different options for us. Do you guys have Phi Theta Kappa?
We do, yes.
Okay, I thought so. I thought I've had a couple of students from OTC transfer in with that. But if you are part of that, you can actually get a scholarship to transfer over with us. So that's something to take into consideration is if you're already part of that, definitely reach out to other schools that you're transferring to and see if they have the same group or
organization.
Any kind of yes, organization.
Yeah.
I can't think of that word today. It's Friday.
Okay. No, that's okay.
Group or organization at your transferring institution. I can share those details with you. There's a lot of different options though. So all of this information, like the least amount of GPA requirement, the number of credit hours you transfer in with. There are qualifications for each of these scholarships, but rather than going over each of them and being super overwhelming with information, I'll just go over the general information on those.
Okay, that's perfect.
So we do have that Phi Theta Kappa transfer scholarship that can be combined with our Board of Governors transfer scholarship.
Ooh, okay.
So you can stack a lot of our transfer scholarships. I know some schools are like, you can't couple these together, but you can these. And that's kind of the same with us, but a lot of them can be combined.
That's awesome.
So the only one that can't be combined with the Board of Governors and the Phi Theta Kappa scholarship is our university academic scholarship. It is like $500 a semester. So it's a little bit less, but it's also less credit hours.
Oh,
so with the Board of Governors, you have to have 52 credit hours, 42 credit hours to get that scholarship. So we would rather give you more money for that scholarship than double up with the university academic transfer scholarship, because that only requires 24 hours.
Okay.
So we want to give you more money, but we can't stack those because it's the same scholarship, just 2 different credit hour amounts.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So the departmental performance scholarship, those are for all full-time students, whether they're at our school or another school. If you come into our department and you're a full-time student, you can apply for these scholarships. I do suggest that you wait until after at least one semester for these, because these are going to be based on what you're doing in your academic department. So you need to decide on a major and what you want to do for your 4-year plan, or for your bachelor's degree. So that's more of departmental specialty scholarships.
Okay.
So they're kind of have their own unique criteria, and those are different per department. So that gets a little hairy in the description, but generally speaking, we do have those departmental scholarships. The last few that I'd like to mention, we have foundation scholarships. So these are basically our donor scholarships, our alumni scholarships that people have donated money for, or people that have graduated from our school who are like, I want to give a scholarship to a student that is exactly like me when I was going to school.
Oh, wow.
But we have over 300 scholarships in this one section. It's one application for all of them. Doesn't necessarily mean that I definitely would not qualify for all 300 scholarships. You wouldn't either, but so there's like hundreds that we could. I mean, even putting in an application for 20 of them with one single application is worth doing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, free money. You can't complain about that.
No.
So the application process for that is like October 1st to December 15th. That's our priority deadline. So this is already open for next school year. So if students are looking at applying for next fall, they can already apply, or even if they're applying for this spring semester, they can apply to get those scholarships for their next academic year.
Oh, very nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and then we do have outside scholarships. So students in your area may have gotten a scholarship that's for 4 years. I'm trying to think of one in particular. Like I got a Pepsi scholarship and a couple of scholarships for graduating from my high school when I was going to school.
Okay.
And they were used over 4 years, but I went to a 4-year university. As far as using them at your school, they should be able to transfer them from OTC after their associate's degree into their bachelor's degree. So that's something to look into as well, to see if maybe you could transfer some of those outside scholarships. But there's also all kinds of scholarships that students can apply for that aren't part of universities. So I highly suggest, even if you find like a database, I'm trying to think of one that a lot of people use. I think Scholarly is one that some of my freshmen have used, but apply for any kind of scholarship that you can. Just do not pay anything to
Right.
apply for scholarships. A lot of people think, oh, I have to pay money to apply. If you're paying money to apply for a scholarship, you're probably not going to get a scholarship.
Right.
You're paying for someone else's bills, basically.
Yeah.
You're giving them money. So
Yes. That's good that like you like the foundational scholarships that you'll have, like that gives so many like varieties of things for them to look into, and that is like a safe, guaranteed place. Like these are all legitimate, everything like that. But
it makes it nice for everybody. I mean,
yeah,
it's hard to transfer, being a transfer student, like you don't want to come in to get your bachelor's degree at possibly a more expensive university. I think our tuition is pretty close together, outside of room and board. That's different. But if students did use their A plus at OTC and then wanted to go to another university to finish out their bachelor's degree, that money from A plus is gone. So we want students to have the option to have more money to finish their education, because free money is great money, is what I always say.
yes, definitely. And I know sometimes there'll be some students that are like, oh, it's only $250 scholarship. That can help for books, so any amount, no matter how small, and especially if they're stackable, that really can help bring down the cost of things. So
For sure. And I love that about our school and a lot of those foundation scholarships, because if you got 20 different scholarships, you could be making money. In the scheme of things, you could be making money to go to school to help pay for that extra stuff.
right.
So
There's just
apply for what you can.
I know. Yeah, I think but really what it comes down to is like students taking the initiative to seek them out, because the opportunity is there for sure. It's just they have to be willing to put that application in. You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
So
It's easier when they're coming from a transferring institution too.
yeah,
I mean, like I said, if you apply to a scholarship online, you don't know if it's real or not sometimes. I mean, there's all kinds of scams nowadays. So make sure if you are transferring, check into their transfer scholarships at the university you're looking at, because there's typically some kind of scholarship or
yeah,
financial aid that we can help you with.
that's awesome. Yes. So another thing that I'm kind of curious about, and I know it's probably changed with COVID and all of the precautions that we've had to take as a result of that. But are there any events, or maybe virtual now, but any kind of events or anything that students can, attend or take part in to just help them learn a little bit more about Missouri Southern and kind of get a feel for the university and everything like that?
Yeah, so fortunately for us, we are closing campus to all outside visitors aside from our admissions events.
Okay.
So we are able to still have students on campus. We're able to do visits and tours on campus for anyone who's transferring or first-time freshmen. You can do that on campus or virtually. So we have that option if you didn't want to drive an hour. But I highly suggest for our transfer students to come to one of our Join the Pride or Show Me Moso events, because they're on Saturday. So it's a day that like you're not going to have to struggle with work or your school schedule. You can just come to campus for a few hours and meet people in your department. You can meet our admissions advisors. You get a swag bag with a free t-shirt and some stuff. So it's just an informational session, but you also get to walk around campus and kind of see what we have to offer and the different buildings and kind of get a feel for the atmosphere. It's free, so you don't have to pay anything. You just come to campus and join us for a day of learning about the institution and getting to know people, and even other transfer students. So we've had some people that meet friends while they're here for the events, and they're like, yeah, we became friends and now we're in almost all the same classes together. And It's cool. It's nice to see those connections being made.
Yeah,
So we have the different academic departments here too for those events. And so you get to meet some of your professors as well.
that's awesome. That's really
Yeah,
awesome. I feel like that's probably the best way to really see if something like if it's a good fit, you to actually
right.
be there and meet some of the people that you could be having classes with and everything like that. That makes a
For
difference.
sure.
Hmm.
And like it's one thing to just go to a campus tour and seeing the campus. Like you actually get to come to campus and experience an event within our buildings and you
Yeah.
get to meet people. So I think that makes a big difference. You're not just like walking through crowds of people on your tour. That's not to say a tour isn't great though. I
Right.
mean, I think our students should at least take a tour. At the very minimum, take a tour of campus
Yes.
just to get a feel for what we have to offer because
Right.
you do want to know that you're going to an atmosphere that you feel comfortable in
Yeah.
or that you think you would thrive in.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's really important, I think. Definitely.
for sure.
So, when looking at applying to the university, I know that different schools have different criteria as far as what they require, whether it's credit hour amount or whatever. But specifically, do you guys have any like GPA requirements that transfer students need to have as a part of the application process?
Mhm. So, the only requirements that we have for our transfer students is leaving your previous institution in good academic standing, which
Okay.
means you don't have about a record of like cheating or like a disciplinary action of some sort.
Okay.
So you just need to like be in good standing, be a good citizen per se. Um, we just want students who don't have a poor academic record.
Okay.
So we need to see consistency as far as that you're going to your classes. But that doesn't necessarily have to do with your academic standing. We just need to know that like there's not troubles coming with you
Sure.
per
Yeah, yeah,
se.
yeah.
And then the only academic requirement is a 2.0 GPA.
Okay.
So, and that's cumulative.
Okay.
So that's not just for like one semester. That's overall GPA.
Okay. That's good to know. And
Yeah.
is there like an application fee? Is there anything like that that students should be mindful of?
There is. So we require a $30 application fee,
Okay.
and then you have to turn in your at least your unofficial transcripts to be admitted.
Okay.
So we would need whether that's downloading the document off of your OTC website, like on their student portal,
Hmm.
downloading that unofficial transcript and sending that to me, or if they're already done taking classes. Um, or they've like completed their semester,
Hmm.
I would highly suggest sending those official transcripts as soon as you're done taking classes at a previous institution,
Okay.
just because we do have to have those final transcripts before the end of their first semester to award them credit and to ensure that they can enroll for the next semester.
Right.
So, like right now with students applying who are taking fall classes with you guys, I've been telling them like just send me an unofficial transcript for your admission process. We'll
Hmm.
get you admitted based on that information. And then when the semester's done, we'll get that official transcript from you to start in the spring. So,
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. That's really good to know. Very good to know. So here at OTC, we do have a really good career services department. What they help students a lot with is kind of being undecided, as far as what degree program they want to pursue or what career they want to pursue after they graduate. And
for sure.
I know that confusion doesn't necessarily go away when you get to the point where you're pursuing a bachelor's degree either. I know I personally switched my major a couple of times. And so, do you guys have anything like a career services that helps students not only maybe kind of figure out what they want to pursue and what they want to do when they grow up, but maybe also helping them get connected to like internships throughout college or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. So Our career services department actually works with our current students and our alumni. So even after you graduate, we're here to support you in finding whether that's a change in career or applying for promotion or updating your resume or even applying to graduate school. Like we want to be there for our students however we can. But specifically for transfer students and those first-time freshmen, they're there to help you choose a major, a career path, develop your personal career goals for the future, or even prepare to market yourself. So whether that's making a resume, writing a personal statement, they're there to support you and review those things for you so you can be more marketable in the job field, as well as with graduate school and applying for internships and things like that. Nice. So we also have Hire the Lion Showcase that's on and off campus jobs, internships, and volunteer opportunities. Oh, wow. So we just had this, I think it was last week, or it may have been this week. They did it virtual this year, and I was busy, so I didn't get the chance to get on there just to meet people. But it's a great way to network by going to this Lion Showcase because businesses that are looking for career-driven students or volunteers and different things come to this. Okay. And they talk to you about like what you could do with a profession with them or what you can do with your degree at their company. Yeah. So it's a great way to kind of get involved with our career services office as well as like preparing for your future. Yeah. So even if you need someone to look over your resume or give you tips on the interview process, they're a great resource. So
that's awesome. And those skills are really, I mean, unless you are using them all the time, you don't really know, some of those skills that you need to have and to help polish them and stuff. So it's nice that they're willing to do all of that kind of stuff just to help you get prepared for the adult journey.
For sure. And like it helps ease some of the stress. I mean, you and I talk to students every day. Yes. We talk to people every day, all day. Yes. But when you are going into a big job interview or you're applying to graduate school, it's like a whole new ball game. It's like, I don't know how to talk to another human. What do I do? Right. So having someone to ease your mind a little bit and be like, it's going to be okay. Yes. Here's some basics. And then they can walk you through it. So they can give you tips based on their personal experience with you. Yeah. So I think that's super important to just, even if it's just talking to someone and doing a mock interview, it can be a little cheesy. I agree. Yeah. Especially if it's like a giggle fest, but they're there as a professional to simulate that situation and make you feel more comfortable, but also putting you kind of in that awkward situation where you're like, my future kind of depends on this interview, right? Type feeling. So it puts things into perspective for sure. Yeah. But they set up meetings with you in advance. You can walk in or you can call or email them with your questions. So they're readily available on campus.
That's nice. That's really nice. I think
for sure.
Awesome. So
yeah, I wish I would have utilized it more. Thinking back, I'm like, I wish I would have used the career services office.
I know.
I'm at college just to like know what the heck I was doing or what.
Me too. Now working with students and giving them advice and connecting them to the resources, I'm like, why didn't I do any of this? Like, it would have been so helpful. Yeah, take advantage of it. Take advantage of it.
Sure.
Yes. So another thing that some students are interested in, which we kind of have it's very limited in what we offer in regards, in regards to study abroad. But I know that those opportunities are a little bit more varied and more of an option on the university level. Whoa, sorry. So can you talk to us just a little bit about what those opportunities look like and how a student who is interested in studying abroad, they might go about pursuing that?
Yeah, so one of the great things about Missouri Southern is we have an international mission. So for our students, we really emphasize getting immersed in other cultures
Hmm.
and getting worldly experience, regardless of the degree that you're pursuing, or even if you're not going to do something that you're going to do international traveling or something like that. We want you to get a feel for other cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So we emphasize the importance of that by doing themed semesters, but also having a lot of options for study abroad.
Cool.
So with our study abroad programs, like individual students can go an entire semester to countries like Australia, China, France, Germany, Japan, the Netherlands, I think Morocco,
Wow.
United Kingdom, and those are all through the international exchange program. So we already have those connections with and bilateral agreements with universities around the world.
Wow.
So there's a lot of options. Last year, in 2019, we had students travel to Australia, Italy, Belize, Mexico, Germany, the Czech Republic,
Oh my goodness.
Denmark, Norway, Sweden. So those were all under faculty supervision. So those weren't even including like the students that did stuff on their own.
Wow.
So we really want to emphasize that. And we even have grants and scholarships for those opportunities. So if you're interested at all in studying abroad, definitely check out the grants and opportunities we have to offer, because we'll give you money to travel.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, might as well. I'm like, that's awesome. I wish I would have traveled abroad.
No, me too.
I didn't want to leave. Where am I going to leave my dog for a semester? That was my biggest concern. And my mom's like, well, I would have watched the dog. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But it's a great opportunity, especially if you want to do something in a foreign language, or learn more about people that are different than you, or learn about a different culture. I really think it's important, especially if you can use your scholarships and get additional money to do that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it just helps contribute to making you like a well-rounded student, but also it gives you kind of like a leg up, when in the job market, because you have experienced those other cultures and things like that.
Yeah, and while you're there, I mean, since we already have connections with some of those universities, there's opportunities to do an internship while you're there.
Oh, nice.
You could do more hands-on learning than just taking classes with us. And you could do online classes with us and then get a job while you're there for the semester.
That's
so
awesome.
There's a lot of really cool opportunities.
Yes. Let's go back to being freshmen and then we'll do all of these things.
Right? I wish I could go back and redo things. I'm like, I'm still going to school, but it's not the same.
Right. No, it's different. It is different. That's good though. I think that's awesome that you guys offer so many different opportunities for students just to, learn additional skills and, everything like that. I just think that's really awesome.
Cool. It's a really good opportunity. It's one of my favorite parts about our university is the importance of international studies and getting immersed in other cultures. It makes a well-rounded student for sure.
Absolutely. So the next question I feel like it speaks for itself, but I will ask it anyway. Why do you feel it's beneficial for a student to get connected to someone like you and a Missouri Southern advisor? I mean, obviously you are a wealth of knowledge, so you can answer all the questions.
I try to anyway. Sometimes I'm a wealth of comical relief, but sometimes that's good too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
So my advice is, if you speak with an admissions counselor, they're able to connect you with people that you may not be able to get connected with otherwise. Like I have contacts in all of the departments. I can get you connected with people that I know will want to help you and want you to do the best you can.
Yeah.
But I think it's also important that you get that connection on campus before you even get here. So I'm here to help. I can take your hand, walk you through the process of applying and getting all that information in. But my main goal is to get you to our departments. As a transfer student, you need to get connected with your departments and an advisor in your department to get on the right career track and graduation track. so they can look at all of your transcripts and do a more in-depth counseling to reach your career goals.
Right.
So once you're admitted, you're automatically given an academic advisor in your department of your major, but that doesn't mean wait until after you're admitted to do that. So a lot of the time, our advisors are also teachers and professors, and they have, whether that's doing dual credit or they have a huge umbrella of skills. So they are going to be an even bigger wealth of knowledge for your specific major. And getting connected with them early gives you the opportunity to talk more about your options and the opportunities that you have within the department, rather than just meeting them to get enrolled for classes. Because they want to build a connection with you, and it's important for you to build a connection with them, because they are guiding you through the process of getting a career. So I mean, if you're like, I don't know what to do with this class, like, who do you suggest as a professor? They're going to give you genuine advice, regardless of your personal connection. But I was super close to my academic advisor, and she helped me so much. Like, I will never be able to repay her for the amount of times I went into her office and was like, I hate this. I hate everything. I can't do this. She's like, look, you're just having a hard semester. Your classes are hard all at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna make it.
Yeah.
And she was also there for all those times I was like, I'm killing it. I got accepted into grad school. Like, and she wrote me a letter of recommendation. So that there's also that connection. So if you do want to go to grad school, or you do need a professional reference, if you build that connection early on, you can have them as a resource for many things outside of just getting enrolled for classes.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I know, like, as an advisor myself, I know that, well, from being a student previously, I know sometimes it feels like, well, I don't want to bother them. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's easy, I think, for a student to feel like them asking questions and reaching out is maybe an inconvenience because we have other stuff going on. But now, in an advisor position, I love when my assigned advisees reach out to me and ask questions, because there have been some that I've been able to build those relationships with and those connections with. And so it's really fun to kind of go with them throughout that process and see their accomplishments, but also to be there just to kind of be a sounding board if they need to vent or whatever. So we love it. And so it's never an inconvenience, you know. It's nice to kind of be that person, that go-to person that they know they can rely on and, you know, kind of just, I don't know, get advice from. It's nice. I don't know. I appreciate that as an advisor now. So.
That's why we have advisor and counselor in our title.
Yes, that's
we're
right.
there for advice and we're there to counsel. Yesterday my coworker said that, and it just cracked me up because it's so true. Like, sure, I planned on counseling them through the academic process, but I've also been there when they're like, I don't know what to do with my ACT. I'm scared. Like, we've been there. Trust me.
Yes.
So most of the situations that these students are going to be in, we've been through ourselves, or we've had experience with other students. So whether it's a simple question or like an extremely loaded question, I want to be there to support my students, and that's why I took this job. And I know that's why you took the job too, is because you want to help.
Yes.
Like, it's what we're here for. It's our job. So don't be afraid to reach out. It's literally our job to help you. So
that's right. And we're happy to do it for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so this is kind of going back a little bit about the transfer credits, but so if a student is like, hey, I'm really actually kind of curious how this class is going to transfer, or, you know, just kind of getting that information, how can they go about finding out how their credits might come over to MSSU?
So I made a transfer guide that I sent out to advisors at OTC. Hopefully you got that in that group email. Yeah. But I sent a specific document that I put together that shows our general education requirements and how OTC's courses correlate to ours.
Okay, perfect.
And there's also a general overview of what to expect as a transfer student. And I have printed options that I'm going to be bringing by soon. And then I know you guys have the electronic version. But I'm going to provide you guys with the documents where students can come by and just grab those out of your office or out of the advising offices to have that information.
Okay.
With that being said, the only caveat to that is we are always adding and adjusting those course equivalencies.
Right.
With each semester, with new course descriptions from your school and our school, and kind of the updated curriculum and the syllabi that come with all of those classes. We like to update that list of courses to make it more, not necessarily well-rounded, but just keep it up to date, because you guys get new courses every semester. We get new courses every semester. So your courses there may transfer as 2 different classes here, and they get to choose which one they wanted to transfer as.
Okay.
There's just a lot of options, and that's why we keep all of that in a living document on our website. You can just go to our website at mssu.edu and type in transfer guide, and it will pull up a list of all the institutions we have credits from previously.
Awesome.
So you can find OTC and look and see, like, okay, I have this course. It comes across as this one. So it's just like a general document to see how each of those transfer. But as we talked about earlier, you don't have to do any of that if you already have your associate's degree.
Yes.
So if you're 1 or 2 classes away, take them. Get that associate's degree. So then you don't have to go through and do all of that. I mean, I've articulated a lot of transfer transcripts with a lot of students and gone over those, and I'm happy to do that with your students if they want to leave Springfield, or they just don't, for whatever reason, if they just want to go to a new institution instead of finishing out their associate's degree, or if there's classes that we offer that maybe you guys don't, that they want to put in their transcript. I'm happy to go through those classes with them and make an Excel sheet to see how those classes transfer. And they're welcome to do that alone. It's just a process that I like to do with my students when they're applying. But it's also done after they're accepted. So that's part of the transcript articulation process, where they go through and look at your transcripts and say, this is how this will transfer, yada, yada. So we can do kind of like a preliminary process. But all of the, like I said, all of those are constantly changing. So it comes down to the registrar office making a decision on that. And if it is a new course that we haven't articulated before, they're good about getting that reviewed and added to our list. So it's a living document, so it's always changing.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. So as far as what students come to Missouri Southern to pursue, is there kind of some common degrees that you see a lot of transfer students end up pursuing, or what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, so a majority of OTC transfer students come to MSSU to earn bachelor's degrees in criminal justice, an associate's degree in dental hygiene, bachelor's of nursing, bachelor's in elementary education, bachelor's of psychology, and then the last one that we get a lot of students for is the bachelor's of health science and respiratory therapy. So those are my top I ran a report to kind of see what my top transfer numbers were, and those were the areas. But we have students come for all kinds of degrees. So we have over 165, I believe it is, different degree options for bachelor's degrees. So just because those are the top ones doesn't mean that that's what you have to transfer in with.
Right.
But especially with like nursing and dental hygiene and respiratory therapy and radiology, you guys offer those with associate's degrees. So that's where we have the bachelor's programs. So I always suggest if you're thinking about doing like something like dental hygiene, apply to both schools.
Right.
So you can for sure get into a program. Like you want to apply to multiple schools. So
So that actually, so we don't offer radiology at our school, but you guys,
yeah,
you have a
yeah.
bachelor's program?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good to know.
So
That is
we have an associate's and a bachelor's.
okay.
So
No.
we combined our health science degree with radiology. So then we're able to do, it's actually a health science bachelor's degree with an emphasis in radiology.
Oh, wow.
But that allows students to get the higher education and be more marketable.
Mhm.
And then they can take it's only a few extra classes to actually get a bachelor's in that area.
Mhm.
So that's something we really push with our students, is to take those couple extra semesters, because the bachelor's part can be done all online.
Oh,
So
nice.
they can still be working. Like a lot of our bachelor's programs are completion programs.
Mhm.
So after they have that associate's degree, they can just take a few more classes online and get a bachelor's.
Wow.
So
That is nice.
it's really, really helpful, especially in the health field, because you can't just not work when
Right.
you're in the health field. Like
Right.
you're going to be working and going to school, you're going to be doing clinical hours. So that's a nice thing about our bachelor's degrees is a lot of them can be part of a continued education through our online programs.
That's
So
awesome. That is awesome.
night
Wow.
classes too.
Yeah.
So we have those options where if students wanted to just take classes at night after they get done with work, they can do that as well.
Very good.
So
That's awesome because I mean, it just seems like you're able to accommodate a lot of different types of students.
yeah, and that's, I mean, we're constantly growing our options, and that's something that we're working on too, is like having more programs and getting more programs out there that our students can come and look at or finish those degrees or even start a completely different degree if that's what they wanted to do.
Right.
So we just want to accommodate as many students as possible, and that's kind of what we're all about, is accommodating our students and continuing the education even for our transfer students. We love getting students from other institutions who want to take more classes. I mean, it's all about the higher education process and achieving your goals as a career goal, whether that's being a transfer student or a first time freshman with us. We're just happy to have our students here.
Yeah, I like that. That's awesome. So, in relation to all the changes that are always taking place in higher ed, I know a lot of times colleges add different degree programs and majors and things like that. So, are there any new and exciting programs or degrees that are taking shape over there?
Yes. So we, aside from our Yours to Lose program, which is like a pre-med program for first-time freshmen when they come into school, it doesn't really apply to our transfer students. So I like pushing that a lot, but I always like to find new programs that I can push for our transfer students. And right now, I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't really realize we had this degree. Oh, we have a bachelor's of health science and paramedic or EMS. So it's basically a program where you can already have your paramedics associate's degree or a certificate in paramedics, and you can come in and get a bachelor's degree in that.
Oh,
So
wow.
then you can take leadership roles, you can be more marketable for the job field. And getting a bachelor's degree in health science paramedic is very rare in this area
Yes.
because we are the only school in the region that offers this program.
Ooh.
So we get students from all over who come to us specifically for that. And I love that department because the guy that's in charge, his name's Ted, Ted Lee. He's so nice and so helpful, and he is very good at what he does, and he's great at getting connected with students, and he really emphasizes the hands-on learning that we want to have on campus. You get to experience firsthand with patients without being with a physical patient, because we have like simulation mannequins that you can draw blood from, you can give medication to.
Yeah.
We even have a full-size ambulance in the classroom.
Oh,
Like
wow.
a full, yes. Like half of it's in the classroom, and then we also have like a mobile one that can be used outside. So like you can hop in the back of the ambulance and start working on a patient. Like you're getting actual hands-on experience.
That's awesome.
Other than that, we always have new certificates, which is a really great option for students that need a minor or need to take a couple of extra classes. So you can get certified in areas like foreign language. We do have fire science and policing certificates. So if you wanted to be a firefighter or you wanted to be part of a police officer training, you can also join our police academy. But something else that's new, two of the new ones that are probably my favorite right now are the autism spectrum disorder certificate. So anyone that's interested in education who might want to get certified in working with those with autism spectrum disorder can get certified in this area as just an extra little add-on. Or even if you want to learn more about it because you have a relative or a friend or a sibling who has this disorder, you can learn more about it as a minor and be certified to work with those individuals. Or even I'm a psychology major, so that's something that I wish I would have had access to, and I plan to do this now that I'm an employee. I'm like, I'm still going to go do it.
Yeah.
So I plan to take those classes to get certified in that. But another really cool one that it'll be the last one I mention. I could go on and on about all of our certificates, but the unmanned aircraft system or the drone certificate.
Oh, wow.
You could learn how to fly a drone and do all these cool things with a drone. Like, why didn't they offer that when I was in school? Like, I'm still going to school technically, but you always got to keep learning.
Oh, yeah.
But this is an opportunity to complete the coursework and then have like Federal Aviation Administration certification. That's a mouthful. So FAA certification as a remote pilot. So if for some reason you were working in construction or you were an engineer who is working on buildings, if you came and got this certification, you could be the official pilot of the drone that's being used for your workstation. So
that's crazy. I've never even
that's so cool. Like, who would have thought that we'd just casually have a class where you can go fly drones?
I never would have imagined.
I'm like, that's so cool. I'm all about it. May have to take a couple classes in that area too, just because.
You should. That would be awesome. That's cool.
But like you said, there's always changing degrees and new opportunities. So we're always working on something new to add to our portfolio. And that's why it's important with our students. If there's something that they're interested in, we want that feedback. So we can provide those opportunities for our students.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, we've covered a lot, and I know that we could probably talk a lot longer too. Because there's so much interesting and helpful information. But is there any kind of final things you would like to share with us before we wrap it up?
I'll just share. I live in Springfield, so I'm able to meet with students, whether that's on your campus. If they want to come to our campus, I'm happy to meet them there if that's something they want me to do, or they can go for the visits and then follow up with me. That's usually what a lot of my students in this area do. But I'm always available by phone, text, or email. I'm also going to set up a few different opportunities with students who want to meet virtually. Like this, to have that casual conversation about how they can transfer and what the process is, and so I can give them an overall spiel about Missouri Southern,
Yeah.
whether that's individually or if they want their parents to be involved or their significant other to ask those important questions. I'm happy to accommodate. But I am in the works of setting up a schedule to do coffee shop visits.
Oh, nice.
So I'm planning to set up a table at a coffee shop here in Springfield and then send out a schedule and say, hey, I'm going to be here from this time to this time. If you want to drop by and ask questions, grab a cup of coffee. You don't have to sit there the whole day. You can just literally drop by and be like, hey, what is this class transfer as? And I will help you. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to be more readily available with COVID and everything. It makes it more difficult to be on campus,
Right.
just set up a table and stuff. But as long as we social distance and wear masks and just stay safe, I mean, I'm happy to get coffee with anybody. That gives me free time to sit and enjoy good company and
Oh, definitely.
help people that need help.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I'll send out that schedule at some point. But other than that, are you going to post my contact information or do you want me to share that on here?
Yeah, if you want to share it on here, and then we can see about adding it as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So my email is bradley-ashlyn@mssu.edu. My first name is spelled Ashlyn, and my last name is spelled Bradley.
Perfect.
Makes it a little easier.
Yes.
And my phone number, if you do need to contact me, is 417-501-9937. So, like I said, I'm here to answer any questions. I'm a resource for your advisors. For you, anything I can do to help you guys, I'm happy to do so. I really appreciate having this opportunity because it gives me time to talk to you guys, get to know you, and get my information out there. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, and you've definitely educated me on a lot of things that I didn't know about MSSU. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do this as well. So,
no problem. I'm just thankful that we can still meet, whether it's virtually or not. I mean, things are weird right now. So,
yes, but we're making it work.
anyway, we make it work.
Making it work. Yes, well, I know that we will be in touch in the future, and I'm excited to continue working with you and getting our students connected and everything like that. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, thank you. And thank you, everybody. And we will see you next time. Bye.